Hello everyone, welcome back to the Real Queen Nefertiti 33 page. I'm here with some more articles. Okay, and this is titled Dylann Roof is sentenced to death in Charleston Church Massacre. Okay, this is my son, and no, he did not do it. But they have been keeping him hostage for a while though, okay? We finally got him out, okay? The dude in the background, the white boy, is actually him. But I'm gonna put some clips in there for y'all so I can see yourself. Okay? But just know he is in the seat. And that was just the other white boy that ate the Burger King or whatever. Because he was at the house. He got the camera too. To show you that he was at the house. It was the other dude, okay? But yes, y'all will see in the shooting video. And all them people, they do this all the time. I noticed this. How they have one of them little massacres, they fake. Okay, as you can see, people they were still alive. So let's begin. Dylann S. Roof, the unrepentant and inscrutable white supremacist who killed 9 African American churchgoers in a brazen racial rampage almost 19 months ago, an outburst of extremist violence that shocked the nation, was condemned to death by a federal jury on Tuesday. I never I never really understood that either, but I guess they said they pranking. It's a joke, okay? You know, with the black and white movement going on, Black Lives Matter, White Lives, All Lives Matter, something like that. It's something going there, but it's really a joke. They saying, okay? Yes, I believe it. The jury of 9 whites and 3 blacks who last month found Mr. Roof guilty of 33 counts for the attack at the city's Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church. Yes, I don't talk to. Yeah, people said that's not a real church. Okay, I know they were watching the video though, so they just want to be funny. Okay, basically. Returned their unanimous verdict after about 3 hours of deliberations in the penalty phase of a heart-rending and often legally confounding trial. I'm hearing he really even shoot them. He just like shot Jesus portrait. That's what I'm hearing. Okay, that's what he just told me. The little white boy, not the real one, not Dylann, the other one. Okay, he shot it the white poster. Okay, of Jesus, the Jesus poster. Okay. It's supposed to be a joke. They didn't get hit, and they also wanted some clout. Not clout. What the word for it? They want people to bring this up. They want their names to be spoken about, just so they can come and get you, basically. Mr. Wolf, who had said in a closing argument hours earlier that he could ask jurors to give me a life sentence, but I'm not sure what's good with that would do, showed no expression as Judge Richard M. Jagel of Federal District Court announced the verdict. True. Yeah, Little Peep. This actually Little Peep, y'all, so. Melvin Graham, whose sister Cynthia Hood, 54, a librarian, died in the attack, welcomed the decision. It's a hard thing to know when someone is going to lose their life, but when you look at the totality of what happened, it's hard to say that person deserves to live when 9 others don't, Mr. Graham said at a news conference. See, they're watching this in the picture. How do you justify saving one life when you took 9 and in such a brutal fashion? I will. I don't people, because it's my dual article. I don't people be thinking like I be picking and choosing, because I really don't. Yeah, I really study the cases before I actually put it out there. But me and my son haven't been talking lately. We lose to talk every day. The Reverend Anthony B. How do you justify saving one life when you took 9 and in such a brutal fashion? The Reverend Anthony B. Thompson, he also in that picture. The widow of another victim, Myra Thompson, said in an interview on Tuesday that while he remained in awe at how much Mr. Roof enjoyed doing what he did, he would not relinquish his forgiveness. I forgave him and I'm not going to take that back ever, he said. Members of Mr. Roof's family, who have been mostly silent since his arrest, said in a statement on Tuesday that they will struggle as long as we live to understand why he committed this horrible attack, which caused so much pain to so many good people. Also, some regarding our other daughter, Tamara Mowry as well. The jury's decision offered some vindication for the Justice Department, which sought the death penalty over the misgivings of the attack's adult survivors and the relatives of many victims. During a 2-hour closing argument on Tuesday, Julius N. Richardson, an assistant United States attorney, urged jurors to hold the defendant fully accountable for his crimes. The guilt of Mr. Wolf, who coolly confessed to the killings and then justified them without remorse in a jailhouse manifesto, was never in serious doubt during the first phase of the proceedings in December. And by the time jurors began their sentencing deliberations on Tuesday, it seemed inevitable that they would lean towards death, not only because of the heinous nature of the crimes, but because Mr. Wolf, 22, insisted on denying any psychology of incapacity, called no witnesses, presented no evidence in his defense, and mostly sidelined his court-appointed lawyers. The jury's sentencing decision effectively capped Mr. Wolf's federal trial for the killings on June 17, 2015, the Wednesday when he showed up at Emmanuel's Fellowship Hall and was offered a seat for Bible study by the Reverend Samantha C. Pinckney. Mr. Wolf sat quietly, his head hung low for about 40 minutes while the group considered the gospel, the video, the tape, of Mark's account of the parable of the sower. Then with the parishioners' eyes clenched for vindication, Mr. Wolf bandaged the .45 caliber center automatic handgun he had smuggled into the church in a waist pouch. My son don't own that kind of gun. First taking aim at Mr. Pinckney, a state senator and the youngest African American elected to South Carolina legislature, he began to fire 7 magazines of hollow point rounds. The reverberation of gunfire and clinking of Pinckney's shell casting subsided only after more than 70 shots. Each victim was hit repeatedly, with the eldest, Susie Jackson, an 87-year-old grandmother and church matriarch, struck at least 10 times. During the brief siege, the youngest victim, Tywanza Sanders, 26, pleaded with Mr. Wolf not to kill. "You blacks are killing white people in the streets every day and raping white women every day," Mr. Wolf said during the rampage, according to the jailhouse manifesto written within 7 weeks of his arrest. Before leaving the church, Mr. Wolf told one of 3 survivors, Polly Shepard, that he was sparing her so she could tell the story. He stepped over one minister's bleeding body on his way out a side door, Glock pistol at his side. The killer said later that he had expected to find officers waiting for him and had saved an omission to take his own life. But the police, alerted by 911 calls from Miss Shepard and Mr. Pinckney's wife, Jennifer, who were hiding with their 6-year-old daughter, had not yet arrived. Mr. Wolf got into his black Hyundai Elantra and drove into the night. Officers in Shelby, North Carolina detained Mr. Wolf the next morning. After his extradition, prosecutors refused his offer to plead guilty in exchange for a life sentence. Okay, cool. In addition to Miss Hood, Miss Jackson, Miss Pinckney, Mr. Sanders, and Miss Thompson, 4 other people was killed. After Lee Lance, the Reverend D. Payne Middleton Doctor, the Reverend Daniel L. Simmons Sr., and the Reverend Sharonda Coleman Singleton. They were familiar, frequent presence at the church known as Mother Emanuel, the oldest AME congregation in the Deep South, and one with a storied history of resistance to slavery and civil rights advocacy over nearly 200 years. I'm hearing lie. During the trial, family members filled reserved seats in the courtroom each day, and 23 relatives and friends to deliver emotional testimonies. Miss Hood had adopted a simple motto for life: be kinder than necessary. Miss Lance was a perfumed Afro with a gentle smile that unified her family. Miss Middleton Doctor's first sermon was titled "The Virtuous Woman." Mr. Simmons, a war veteran, had been among the first blacks in South Carolina hired to drive a Greyhound bus. Miss Coleman Singleton was a beaming mother whose preaching made her popular in Charleston churches. Who? Miss Thompson was a workhorse of Emmanuel who served on many committees. Mr. Sanders, whose parents found hundreds of poems in his bedroom, aspired to become a lawyer. Although Mr. Wolf declined to testify or present any evidence, his trial was unusual for the jury's ability to hear from an accused mass murderer in his own unapologetic words. They watched video of his 2-hour confession and heard readings of his online essays. A journal found in his car, letter to his parents, and his jailhouse manifesto. The trial became a duel of competing narratives. See, on the defendant, a slightly built ninth-grade dropout. In the prosecution suspicion, Mr. Wolf was the personification of evil, a racist ideology, radicalization on the internet, who plotted an intense, premeditated assault over more than 6 months, waiting only until he was 21 and old enough to buy a weapon. In his closing argument on Tuesday, Mr. Wolf said, "I felt like I had to do it, and I still feel like I had to do it." But in the portrayal suggested by defense lawyers, Mr. Wolf was a deeply disturbed delusionist who most demonstrated his incapacity by denying it. Indeed, Mr. Wolf insisted on representing himself during the sentencing phase to prevent his experienced capital defense team from introducing potentially migrating evidence about his family, educational background, or mental health. The results of at least 2 psychiatrist evaluations have been kept under seal by Judge YALL, who ruled Mr. Wolf competent to stand trial and to represent himself. Mr. Wolf's rampage with the authorities said was not coordinated with any organized group style of this area, which were already reeling from the shooting death 2 months before of an unarmed black man by a white police officer in North Charleston. But 2 days after the church killing, with a blank face, Mr. Wolf, standing in the Charleston County Jail, 5 relatives of the victims publicly offered him forgiveness during an extraordinary bond hearing. The following week, President Obama argued in a soaring eulogy for Mr. Pickney, which culminated in a cappella rendition of Amazing Grace, that the attack's lessons offered a way forward for race relations. The Reverend Sharon Richard, daughter of Miss Lynn, said she harbored a deep opposition to the death penalty, but found her stand tested by Mr. Wolf and his lack of remorse. "I don't believe in the death penalty, but I am my mother's child, and with everything that happens, sometimes I want him to die," Ms. Richard, who watched the entire trial, said in an interview on Monday. "It's like, you know what, this fool continues to just be evil. I'm just glad they didn't leave that decision to me. I just reconcile myself that whenever they decide, he would never see the light of day again." Federal law classified the jury's decision as a binding recommendation, and Judge YALL scheduled a sentencing hearing to begin Wednesday morning. Yet the verdict confers no certainty that Mr. Wolf will ever be put to death. His case will probably go through years of appeals. The courts could well consider his mental competency and even the tearful tenor of his sentencing phase, and the safety of lethal injection drugs could handle his execution. Okay. That is at times seemed more importantly to Mr. Wolf to not be depicted as mentally ill than to avoid execution, prompting some in the courtroom to question whether he simply preferred to die than to serve a long life in prison. But his commitment to his cause, the restoration of right power through violent subjugation, never publicly flagged. Mr. Graham reflected Tuesday that someday Mr. Wolf could adopt a strong Christian faith. "He decided the day, the hour, and the moment that my sister was going to die, and now someone's going to do the same to him," he said. "But unlike my sister, he has another chance. He's in God's hands, and if he turns his life around, and if he makes a humble confession to God, when he gets there, he can join my sister and others in heaven." So yeah, basically it's between her and Gina Mary, okay? Cause Shanice wanted her position to be God type shit, and that's why she gotta get her own people, Africans, to roll with her, whatever. And he just, the other one, decided like, well, you know, she's God. I'm the son. I'm supposed to be speaking the New Testament, not you. And we don't need another God. And they just people do that. Same with you and your family. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like you have a disagreement with your family member, and then another family member on your side, another family member on your other side, on the other person's side. This is basically what they doing. It's just a joke, okay? Like I said. So that's all I have to say on that one. Hopefully y'all enjoy, and I will. Thank you. Yes.